Let's see if this works. Hey y'all, Savannah here, spending the day resting and recouping from a very long weekend. As some of you might know, Community the Verb took place this past weekend. After many months of labor, it finally got a chance to be lived in and cried and laughed and loved in. And I just wanted to share some of the thoughts, feelings, reflections, musings, questions that I am sort of sifting through in the aftermath of that, of what is still here to do, what I'm walking away with. And I thought about writing this. In fact, I was very much going to write this, and then I realized that perhaps it would be a little bit more potent to use my voice, to not get a chance to perfectly edit and curate my musings on this experience that I've had, but to really just offer, just offer a very human account of a very human experience. Where to start? I think I'll start with saying thank you. I've done a lot of organizing over the last couple years, and I have never been on a team that was so in love with each other. So absolutely in support of one another, while in conflict, while in distress, while under-resourced, while, amidst the madness that is doing intersectional anti-oppressive work together. Intersectionality is a hell of a thing, and I just want to express the most sincere gratitude to all of my team, Aaron, Dylan, Dragan, Nancy, Amy, Carrie, all y'all changed my life over the last couple months, and changed my life even more this past weekend. And all of the folks who showed up to support us as we supported the container that we made for participants to come to support each other in this work at Community the Verb. Support, support, support. That is just like the word of the year, 2018, hashtag support. It's what we're all about. And I just really want to start with that because I feel like for me, at least, that was the point of creating Community the Verb, was to create space for relationships to happen, for resilience to blossom because we leaned in to one another. Because I think what I've seen in my life, in my trauma, is that there's this like deep belief that I'm alone or that I have to do it alone. And that's really interesting, but I say trauma first because also that is individualism is one of the key pillars of white supremacist culture. And as I saw over the course of this weekend, the more I learn about whiteness and how it works, the more I see how influenced my trauma is from it. It's almost as if my trauma took place in a very traumatic context, was enculturated into whiteness. And the more I see that there's honestly no decoupling of what it means to heal myself and what it means to hopefully heal my relationships and wider world, and the fact that all of that is a collaboration, that we, you, me, all of us, we need each other in that, and we need to be willing to hurt one another in that. And I think that this past weekend really showed me that it's possible to do that consensually. It's possible to mutually choose to be willing to make mistakes together, and that might really deeply hurt one or both of us, because it hurts to hurt and it hurts to be hurt. And at the same time that, like, right now in this work, that's like such an important place to start healing from, is the willingness to see that we're all hurting and that we all hurt each other, which almost seems paradoxical, and at the same time I really saw this weekend how much can come from people paying attention to that and reaching through that. I really want to thank Erin Johnson for, who is now a key lineage holder of mine, influencing my work, my wonder of the world. He is so committed to reaching to white folks as a black man, to and asking white folks to reach towards each other in their own whiteness, in order to try to reach towards black folks. And this notion of closeness being key to all our survival is incredibly intimidating, I think, for many of us. It is, at least for me. And yet I got to see this weekend how much is possible when we're willing to be close to one another, and when we're willing to stay engaged, to stay in our bodies, stay in our relationships, through discomfort, in conflict, together. And I also saw that there's a lot left to do, right? Like, this was one weekend, this was one moment, this was one tiny, tiny thread in an entire tapestry of work that is to be done. And I think that that is actually one of the most important things I walked away with this weekend, was our first community agreement, which was to expect and accept non-closure, and this was an agreement among a few others that we asked permission to use from the Center of Equity and Inclusion in Portland, Oregon. They do really fantastic work. Please check them out. But this idea that it will never be done. And so in many ways, there's no one right way to do it, right? Like, if the work never ends, then we're gonna have to keep trying and being and loving and fighting, and that all of us carry wisdom in what that work looks like. And I think for me, as cliche as it is, and I didn't really get this in full until this weekend, but like, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I know so much of my just personal sense of urgency, and I also think my white urgency, like, wants us to get there, wants it to be done, wants the oppression to stop, you know, like, all of that. There's like that energy, and I really got the chance this weekend to slow down, and to slow down with support. And I really am carrying that forward. And as many interactions as I can possibly have with all of you. Yeah, y'all, so I think I'll end as I began, which is to say thank you. This was life-changing for me, and I can't wait for what happens next. For all the possibilities that arose out of this weekend. I can't wait for how they will ripple out into the world, and to do it together is the thing that I'm most excited for. So yeah, thank you for joining me this weekend, for those who did, and thanks to all who support me on this journey and support each other on all our journeys, because we really are working together in this. And it's a real gift to not have to do it alone. So yeah, y'all, that's it for me today. Thanks for listening. Peace, y'all. Bless.